Well, thank you, Madam Speaker. And just briefly to the question of my participation with the Government of Northwest Territories prior to the submission of this bill. This bill was given to the Government of Northwest Territories. I attended meetings with the Premier of the Northwest Territories and the Finance Minister. When we talk about what's going on here in terms of the dialogue over this bill, remember that there is a gun to the head of the Government of Northwest Territories, and that is the need of the Government of Northwest Territories in the next while to have an improved borrowing limit. And they've talked about this in the House of in their legislative assembly, saying, look, if we don't get this borrowing limit approved, we won't have the ability in the near future, because of all the borrowing powers that they have are taken up with, in many cases, with self-liquidating loans. Most of it is self-liquidating, but it still counts against this borrowing limit. So we have a problem there. Under my bill, the Northwest Territories will be able to borrow up to 70% of its estimated annual revenue. This would give them an ongoing increase as the government increases in size. The process my bill uses a common practice for other jurisdictions that exist under legal statutes in Canada, like municipalities exist in provinces. That's where we're at with the Government of Northwest Territories. All the authority for the Government of Northwest Territories comes out of the NWT Act. Well, the discussions are underway with the territorial government concerning the borrowing provisions of the Northwest Territories Act. Unless these discussions are leading to an amendment to the Act, there is nothing more than a continuation of the current colonial process. So this government doesn't have the opportunity to give the Northwest Territories more autonomy with the process that's entered into. It needs a amendment to the NWT Act. And my bill, taken in a nonpartisan fashion, would provide that to this government, if this government wants to participate in it. Your parliamentary secretary argued that in the first hour of debate, my bill could not be supported as the government prefers to treat the three territories the same. Well, this is not a defendable position, considering that in the last 2 weeks, the Minister of Indian Affairs just signed a devolution agreement in principle with the Government of Northwest Territories, and yet refuses to talk with Nunavut about a similar devolution agreement. The Yukon has not expressed a need for the changing of the borrowing limit. We all have different requirements. We're three different territories, three completely different jurisdictions. It has never been clear to me why Canada must approve territorial borrowing. As the letter from the parliamentary budget officer that we got, who indicated quite clearly, with respect to Bill C-530, our review indicates there be no incremental costs arising from adoption of these legislative amendments. So once again, this is not an issue of cost to the federal government. This is a political issue about the nature of the type of control that this federal government holds over the territories. And with the gun to their head, what can our finance minister, what can our premier say to this government if we don't go ahead with this? They're in a very difficult position. If we can come to grips with what the real issues are here, Madam Speaker, what the real need for the Government of the Northwest Territories, for our three territories is, through this bill, we can come to better solutions for the people of the North. There is no solution for the people of the North other than amendments to existing legislation for this particular issue. So without this bill, this government doesn't have the legs to do what it needs to do for the Northwest Territories. So I plead with all members, take this to committee. Bring the Government of Northwest Territories in front of the committee so it can talk to you about its borrowing limit problems. It can show parliamentarians where it stands. By approving this bill at second reading, we will accomplish that. We will give a voice to the Government of Northwest Territories here in Parliament. And I plead with all of you to support this bill and get it to committee.